Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going way into the future to the year 2055, where unfortunately pollution has taken its toll on the entire ecosystem of the world. Now we're trying to rescue little creatures under the water, and we're trying to create our own Aqua park for investors. So this is a 2 to 4 player game. It's some dice rolling, dice manipulation, and it's kind of a cooperative game, but not really. You're out for yourself, but you will need to cooperate with people from time to time. So let's take a look. It says it's 20 minutes, more on that later. Artwork's great. Let's take a look. At the beginning of Aqua Park, you select your person, and each one's going to have a specialty. Like this one, Freddie Woods is good at catching sharks, where Anna Walton's good with the squids, or you could pick Jack Gates, who's good with sort of the spiders, or you could pick Christy Kim, who's good with these, I don't even know what you call those things, but excellent artwork in this game. At the beginning of the game, you're also going to get 5 mission cards. These are essentially to show you that you're going to get species of these types, and if I get these 2 types of species, I can turn it in for 2 points. This one's a little harder, I get 4 points. Now, my guy is great at sharks, so I'm often going to keep the one that has the sharks. From these 4, I basically, from the 5, I discard down to 4. So essentially, I'll get rid of 1, I'll put it in the bottom of the stack of all those missions, and we will start the game. These are kept secret and hidden from the other players. You also will get $10 million to start the game. It's kind of like a hard, decent, it's not paper money, it's decent quality there, and you get $10 million to start with. Then the board gets set up. Essentially, we're looking at 5 different areas of the world, and each of those areas are going to have 4 animals that we're going to be able to try to save and put into our Aqua Park. And you can notice the colored areas is showing you where in the world these are coming from, and each of them have a name. So this one's the killer whale, and so on and so forth, and you can see the different areas. I'll tell you what those signs mean on those cards in just a moment, but those are the different places in the world you get these from. And I want to highlight the artwork in this game. It's the best part about the game is it's really realistic looking. We almost thought they were photographs when we first looked at them because they look so good, but the art is excellent in this game, and you know, they're just very detailed. The colors are very vibrant. It's just really cool. Now let's say I'm a start player, and you remember my guy's good at sharks, so if I can just, and he gets 1 shark for free, if I can just get one of these spider ones, I can complete this. So let's look at the board. There's a spider here for 4, or a spider here for 15, which means that's what I'm going to have to exactly roll to get that. Let's go for that top one. So what happens is I get to choose one of these dice. We have a 4-sided, 8-sided, 6-sided, and 12-sided die. I will select the 12-sided die, and then going clockwise, each player will then select another die to put in front of them so that everybody has a die in front of you. Now I will roll my die. I have a 1. I've got a couple of choices. I can either A, pay $1 million to the bank there and re-roll. And I can do this as many times as I want. Maybe I don't like the 6, and let's try it again. I'll do a 1. I'll spend $1 million. Well, I got a 5. You know what? I don't want to spend any more money. I'll stop. Then I can ask for cooperation. And what happens is each person that has one of those dice in front of them are also going to roll them, but they'll be in front of that person, but all these dice are there. And then I can see, can I use a combination of my die, it has to be my die, and then a combination of the other ones to get what I want. Well, look at this, 5, a 6, and a 4. That is 15. Excellent. So I can say, look, I'm going to use your 2 dice. Each of you 2 are going to get $1 million. So those 2 people will get $1 million of my money paid to them because I used their dice, and I'm going to be able to purchase this because I have exactly 15. Now, because I have everything I need, because I automatically have a shark, and I have this guy. Now, normally this would just go down here and it would just stay there and you can start getting a bunch of animals together. But I'm ready to do this. So I put this card here in play. I show him, hey, I've got a shark. I've got one of these guys. I get 2 points. Now, you always have to throw one of your animals that were in this away. In this case, it's the only one, but sometimes you'll have multiple to choose from. And that will be interesting because sometimes you'll have other cards that you'll look at for missions and you'll see which ones you'll need to throw away. But this guy will go away and he'll get out of there. But I just got 2 points, and then it'll be the next player's turn. And after you've maybe bought another commission card or it's the end of your turn, it goes clockwise, play goes clockwise, showing this. And once everybody has had a turn, this then start player goes to the right. This passes to the person who was the last player. So the last player is actually getting 2 turns in a row. They're getting a turn for being the last player, and then this is getting passed to them and they're starting around. But then it means that he has a lot of turns, maybe a few in a row that he's not getting to play, but that's how the turn order goes. And we would start over. That player would then select the die and go forth, and same thing would happen. Now, if anytime you catch one and you don't want to keep it, you can kind of get rid of him and sell him off to another park, and you'll get $3 million for doing so. Now, the penguins have a golden. They don't go into any of the mission cards, so when you do get them, you pretty much have to sell them, but you get $5 million for selling the gold penguins. These ones are essentially just really good about raising money, because every $5 million is 1 point, and you're trying to get to 15 points. Now, there's another catch. If I'm trying to get an animal in this row here, I cannot use the 12-sided die. That's what the 12 means. This row, I can't use an 8-sided die. This row, I can't use a 6. It's the same die that you can't use always for this row, and it's always a certain range of numbers that are in that row. So if I take this die, I cannot get anything in here. If I take a different die, I can roll it, and then when I ask for cooperation from the other players, when that player rolls this, I can't use that die on anything in this row. So you're somewhat limited as to which dice combinations you can use in any of these rows. That's sort of the trick of the math of the game. It's really just a mathy game trying to figure out how are you going to get the thing you need and which dice should I be pulling. One more last thing is if you get one of these animals and they have a die on it, the player that took that die that round also gets $1 million. So taking your die could be a strategic decision if you know which one he wants. Maybe you'll take the die of the one he's trying to get. Now the chart has a flow graph on how this works. It looks very confusing when you first look at it, but once you play a few rounds, it makes most sense. Again, you're just trying to do what I just showed you to get 15 points, and you get $5 is 1 point, plus the points that you get from your mission cards here. Now, of course, at the end of your turn, you also have the option of buying for $3 million another card, and that's another mission card there. So you're buying mission cards, you're getting money, money's points, and you're getting these cards and these animals, and you're putting them in your Aqua Park here, and you're trying to get 15 points. First one to do that is the winner. Now, if you're playing with 3 players, one of the 4 dice per turn, the last one that's not chosen, goes to the IOC. Now, the IOC is essentially the Intergovernmental Oceanic Commission, and essentially this goes off to the side, and if I use this person's die, I just spend $1 million sort of to the IOC or to the bank. If you're playing with 2 players, each person's going to select 2 dice per round, and if you use your own extra die, you don't pay yourself, but if you use one of theirs, you pay them $1 million per their die, and in the 2-player game, you play to a 20 score points. Now this is another one of those small games coming out at Essen from Korea Board Games, and what really attracted to me this was sort of the theming of it, the underwater and animals, and the artwork just looks so amazing. Like I say, the artwork in this game is phenomenal. By far, it is the best thing about this game. They obviously commissioned very talented artists. We thought they were actually photos of those animals when we first looked at them, but no, they're actually drawings. They're very good. Now, the gameplay itself, now the game says that plays in 20 minutes. And we found the game to drag on longer than it should. Now, it's not a bad game, but it's not a great game either. It's not something that just grabbed me. It's not something I'm going to be playing all the time, but there's some things to think about. So theoretically, this is a sort of an engine building game where you're grabbing these different, or you're capturing or helping out these animals that are under the sea by rolling dice and cooperating with others. And, you know, when you do that, you're trying to build this sort of engine because one of your guys, you know, goes away once you score that card, as I showed you, and you're trying to figure out which ones to go, and you get to get this engine building, you keep going and building faster and faster towards the end. I like the aspect that you're choosing the dice. I like the aspect that you can re-roll and press your luck and throw money away. I like the aspect that you can use other people's dice and then pay them for it. That's cool. It's interesting that you have different rows that you can't use certain dice, and this is where it starts to get a little weird, where that's probably the main design thing of this game. But we found it to be almost like overly elaborate mathematics. This game's very mathy because if you're trying to figure out a specific number that you want, or 1 or 2 of them, you gotta figure out which die to roll, and then you gotta look at the columns, see which one you can't roll for that row, and then it just becomes like a mathematical exercise. And sometimes you might get AP with this, trying to figure out which dice to even pull in the first place. So it was, it almost felt like it was overly elaborate just to be elaborate. It wasn't very streamlined at all. The other thing I didn't like about it was the player order, turn order. It just felt really weird where you go around in a circle and then the last player then gets the card and he's the first player. So you're gonna get 2 turns in a row, but then right after that, you're gonna go like 4 or 5 turns without even getting a turn if you're playing a 3 or 4 player game. And that just felt weird. I don't know why they did that. Why didn't they just move it around? I'm sure there's a good reason, but I couldn't figure out why. It just felt really weird. Also, so at the end, you know, it was okay, not a bad game. Had some good things there, loved the artwork, but in the end, it's not something that totally grabbed me and took me away. And it did go on longer than the 20 minutes on the box. I mean, a 3 or 4 player game was going about 40 to 45 minutes, which is twice as long as the box says. This game should be 20 minutes. For 20 minutes to be great, 40 is way too long for this game. But it is great artwork. You can use it with kids for mathematics and addition and some probabilities and such. So it's not a bad effort. It's just not one that's really going to stay in my collection or one that I'll bring out too often. And that's Aqua Park.